Hello, guys, and welcome to the show. What do I think's going on with this market? Well, I'll tell you what I think, and let's get the charts open. Let me see, where's my chart? Okay, let's get the charts open right here, and let's take a look. Try to see what's going on. I think we saw the plunge protection team in action. They told us they were going to do it. The president come up and Steve Mnuchin, he went out and he talked to the banks, and he said, do you have ample liquidity? So the top banks in America, the biggest banks, J.P. Morgan included, do you have ample liquidity for lending? In other words, can we use your reserves, bank reserves, to lend vast amounts of money to the plunge protection team? Now, when the bank uses their bank reserve to lend vast amounts of money to the plunge protection team, they can lend out 10 times more money than they have in reserve. And so we're talking vast amounts of money. We're talking about them putting that money onto a balance sheet. So whatever they spent today would be going onto a balance sheet. Now let's look at when they started today. What happened? Well, immediately the market started to rise. I think that the plunge protection team was backing the market and creating enthusiasm amongst the investors. And there were a number of investors that probably bought in to this rally as well as the plunge protection team. So it wasn't all plunge protection team money. But what we've seen is every time it started to fall off a little bit, the plunge during the middle of the day. So take a look at the first of the day. They came in strong. They started a rally off, right? Now, picture the plunge protection team using their money for this rally up to this point right here at 12:10, so just after noon. Then they backed off a little bit because they're probably saying, hey, you know what, we're spending too much money here, boys. You know, let's cut it back just a little bit. So they cut it back, and what happened, started to fall again on them a little bit. So they said, okay, we better get back at it. We better start pumping some more money in. So when they got back from lunch, the plunge protection team, around 2 o'clock, right? They said, okay, now it's time for us to give it a punch because we want to make a 1,000-point rally today. And so that's what happened. At precisely 2:45 p.m., I think that they did the second big injection of money into the and pushed it up, and I think their target was probably 1,000 points. The plunge protection team. So they told us they were going to do it. They said, okay, we're going to come in, we're going to rescue this market. And then all of a sudden we see it go up 1,000 points after they told us they were going to do it. I think what we're seeing is them doing it. Okay, I don't think it was all plunge protection team. I think that there was a number of real investors in there that were kind of helping along, you know, with the plunge protection team, a suckers rally, basically. So they knocked the market up 1,086 points today, you know, and everybody out there is probably feeling safe again, feeling better. This is a feel-good rally, you know what I mean. Let's take a look here. What did I have? Silver price. I wanted to talk about that too. I want to take a close examination of what the silver price did today during this whole episode with the rally in the stock market. You know, when the stock market first started this morning, there was an awful lot of tension and fear in the marketplace. And an awful lot of fear is just starting to enter in now. Real fear and panic, right? And what did we see happen here? Well, this morning at the open of the market at 8 o'clock, right? Or a little bit before the open. At 8 o'clock, what we saw the silver price take off. It was running in its range. It's been running in for a long time. It was at $14.80. All of a sudden, she took off. Just look at this right here. Look at it. It took off, right? And it went up to $14.90. It went up to $15. And when it passed $15 psychological barrier, it took a little dip there, a little dip back down into the $14.90 something range, but then it took off again. And went all the way up to about $15.15, something like that, right? But at the exact same time, or basically close to the same time, that the market started to rise really good, and these investors could see the market. They could see the stock market going up like really good. And they say, oh, the stock market's up 500 points. Oh, wow. They go, whoo. Ah, we're not frightened anymore. We're not frightened anymore. You know? Sell the silver. We don't need it anymore. We don't need it anymore. There's no crisis. Oh, look, the world's wonderful again. And what did we see happen? We seen the silver price start to taper back down again. It lost like 15 cents. 16 cents, 17 cents, 18 cents, and it bottomed out here. And then, well, it came back up to $15, but it's riding along at $15. So it is higher than it was before. It's up 27 cents over the day. But that's because the anxiety passed. And they thought to themselves, hey, you know what? Hey, the market's not so bad after all. You know? And in fact, some of them might have sold off their whatever business they were doing in silver and hopped back in the market, probably working in conjunction, not realizing that they're working in conjunction with the plunge protection team. Just thinking, hey, you know, this is just a, you know, they probably had not a clue that the plunge protection team was actually supporting the market. But now let's talk about the plunge protection team a little bit. You know, they're supporting this market. That means they're directly monetizing the market. And that money's going to have to go on a balance sheet, creating more debt. Ultimately, I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to dig and see if I can find out exactly where that money's going. I'm going to trace some money from the plunge protection team, trying to find out what balance sheet are they putting it on. I got a lot of questions here about all of this. First off, I never saw this coming until just a couple days ago about the plunge protection team coming in and actually borrowing money from the major banks through the process of fractional reserve banking and throwing it into the market, to up the market. I mean, this is completely unsterilized monetary stimulus of the worst kind, of worse than what the Fed does. This is just pure money creation. At least what the Fed was doing with their quantitative easing, at least they were backdooring it into the banks and storing it there, and it wasn't really making it out. It was like a liquidity trap. Yes, it was unsterilized, but it was well, only partially unsterilized. You know, I mean, part of that money that the Fed created, where they bought like $40 billion a month of mortgage-backed securities, and I think the other, I can't remember now. I know it was $80 billion a month during quantitative easing. Anyway, this is worse. If what they're doing now with the plunge protection team is buying trillions of dollars of stocks and basically buying up the market, this is worse than what the Fed was doing as far as being something that would... and another question, too, I got. Are they circumvening the Fed? The plunge protection team in order to support these markets? And another question I have is how far are they going to go with this? Are they going to completely support... Are they going to do this every day until the markets reach a new high? Are they just going to keep pouring money in? You know, I mean, then the markets are completely bought by the plunge protection team. So I got a lot of questions. I don't have all the answers just yet for you guys. I got to get out there. I got to do more research. There's going to be answers coming in because I'm not the only one asking these questions. And as far as I see it, this whole maneuver, let me go back to the Dow chart today. This whole maneuver, you know, is going to create a lot of questions with a lot of other people besides me. And so I think eventually we're going to get some answers to what's really going on. Dow Jones up 1,086 points today. We have to see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a very important day. And so is as we move into January. It's going to be very important to see what it does. Can they stop the slides in this market? Because if we take a look at the longer-term chart here, let's go out to 1 year and take a look. Where's my 1 year chart? That's one day. I want 1 year. Here, 1 year chart. This 1 year chart kind of puts it in perspective. We can see that this 1,000-point rise does still not even get us up to the bottoms of let's see, is it January? No, January, February, March 23rd. Okay, March 23rd, we made a bottom of 23,533, and everybody thought that was terrible. Right now, this 1,000-point rise has left us short of that. We're still under that mark of 23,533. We're at 22,878 right now. So we're still well short of that bottom that we set back in March. You know? So we're going to have to wait and see what it does. I mean, this could turn down again, this market, even with this financial support by the Fed. Not by the Fed, but by the plunge protection team. Okay. If we go back to 1929, when the stock market crash in 1929 happened, they did the exact same thing, and they failed. The banks got together, and they brought the market back up a little bit in 1929 when the market was crashing, but then it started to fall again. So don't think we're out of the woods just yet, because the plunge protection team, they might have limits as to how much money that they can put in this market and on their balance sheet. Just like somebody who gets a credit card, you know. You get a credit card, they might say, okay, you got a $3,000 limit. Well, in this case, they might have a $500 billion limit, you know. But they might have a limit, and they might have spent $300 billion of it, of the $500 billion already. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so they might be just hoping and praying that this works at this point in time. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.